Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, my virtual online friends. Welcome back, it's been a while. Let's talk about Nova and Guardian and grinding and speed comparison. Basically, let's just say I am maining Nova for the past 3-ish weeks since her Awakening and Succession came out. I only ever tried and stuck to Awakening. Since then, I don't really have any Succession experience. And I keep hearing left and right from a bunch of people that they are not very impressed, they are kind of disappointed to some extent that Nova Awakening is not as good as they hoped it to be, and that Succession is better. So I figured, let me do a bit of testing, research this myself with my own methodology, and compare the two classes I know how to play. I mean, kind of. So Guardian Awakening versus Nova Awakening in a bunch of different grinding spots, see which one can grind faster, and there is no PvP here for today because I don't do PvP. So that being said, let's start our daily conversation. First things first, my Nova is a season character, which means I had to use her gear as the baseline. I tried, to be fair, to make the comparison as fair as possible. I tried to have the exact same AP on both my Guardian and my Nova to eliminate any unfair advantages. I looked at brackets, the Awakening and main weapon substats, the Kutum substats, the monster damage, the crystals. I gave my Nova a Villa buff for 10 AP and the Perfume of Courage for 20 AP to make up for the difference, because my Guardian, even dropping down to 237 or 235 AP, that bracket, she still had more AP because of, that Black Star and Kutum. So in the end, with all of those in mind, I have about 430-ish total AP on both characters. I know Guardian is supposedly, scaling probably the best in the game at low AP brackets, so she will still deal a lot of damage, but theoretically they should have the exact same AP, the exact same gear. They are both level 61, they both have the Awakening 3s maxed out, and honestly I personally think I know how to play Nova well enough at this point. Maybe there's still room for improvement, but still. Let's take a look at what happened, what I got. One more thing before we begin, before I forget, Nova got buffed like twice over the past 2 weeks, slightly, and I started collecting data for this again like 2 to 3 weeks ago, over time. So you will see me referring to 3 types of Novas. I have the base Nova, how she was when Awakening was released, just nothing extra. Then I have the first buff for Nova with these changes, you can see them on the screen from like 2 weeks ago, the patch notes. And then the second buff for Nova from this week with, again, these changes, other changes. Nothing major overall, I would say. If you don't play Nova, or even if you play Nova, basically we got some HP and MP recovery on some skills. Some skills flow better into each other. We got a cancel on Shift Q, and basically quality of life improvements. Nothing really damage wise for Awakening. Again, I only played Awakening. So with all of that out of the way, let's start with the first area, Fadus Habitat. I started with Fadus because it's uncontested, I need a place where nobody bothers me so I can have my perfectly controlled test, and Fadus will represent the one-shottable areas. Basically, a place where no matter what you do, no matter what you use, you're going to be one-shotting a pack, which means the faster you move, the faster you throw out skills, the faster you should be, theoretically. Fadus will basically represent Polyforests, Gahaz, Fogans, Nagas, and no, I didn't go to those places because they are contested. So, if I didn't point this out yet, I'm grinding as fast as I possibly can, that's the idea behind it. I'm looking at trash per hour and monsters per hour. The trash per hour is mostly just for show, I might not even show it on the video, because that's pet dependent. I don't care how fast my pets loot, I only care how fast these two classes are when I try to push them to their limits, let's say. So monsters per hour is what technically makes a class faster than the other one. So Fadus was very interesting for the one-shottable case, mostly because the first test with a base Nova overall turned out to be 5% faster than my Guardian. Basically, I went for 30 minutes precisely, grinded on both characters with 2 sessions, so 30 minutes on Guardian, then I made an average of monsters per hour, and the exact same for Nova, 30 minutes, perfectly controlled, and then I looked at the differences between those 2 averages of monsters per hour, and Nova base is 5% faster. Now here's why, in my opinion. You would think Guardian is not very mobile or not very fast, but I would disagree. She seems to be extremely fast. There are ways to make her move forward while she's killing monsters, and one-shotting packs with Juggernaut helps a lot to keep that movement going, and she has big AoEs. She is extremely reliable at one-shotting packs and then moving on. On the other hand, Nova, she does dash faster, her skills have faster animations, but half of them have tiny AoEs, or at least most of them did before she got slightly buffed, so I think that's where the difference comes. She's only about 5% faster because she's not able to she doesn't have big enough AoEs. Let's just put it like that. After she got buffed, the first buff, so again to remind you, I went back to Fadus Habitat. This time I only did 1 test just to see if anything changed, so only the first 30 minutes. Still, comparing this to the exact same Guardian test before, this time she was 10% faster. I don't think she got faster because of the patch changes. I would just say it's probably slight variation in my grinding speed. I can never be perfectly consistent, and I probably learned what skills to use on what specific packs to make sure she one-shots the entire pack, probably. Either that or the quality of life changes from the patch, the buff, actually helped her in some way. Regardless, 5 to 10% faster, yep, she is faster than Guardian Awakening at one-shottable areas. Wow, big surprise, everyone expected that one. So I moved into not quite one-shottable areas. The second stop is Feather Wolves. A very unconventional choice, I would say. Most people probably don't even grind this place, but I like it. It's aesthetically pleasing, and most importantly, monsters are similar to Munshaums. They don't really die in one skill in most cases, but they are not really high-end either. It's something in between one-shottable areas and the likes of Akman. In fact, this place is so weird that you don't even pull monsters, you more like drag them because they follow you so fast. In any case, same rotation, same grinding style, again going as fast as I could with a base Nova without any buffs, comparing again Guardian, Awakening, Nova, Awakening. Nova was 0.5% faster. Basically with the averages, turns out, hey, I can actually kill just as fast as my Guardian. I was honestly very impressed with this. I didn't expect it, because I would say most people can agree with me. Guardian Awakening is probably the most balanced, strong grinder in the game currently. She is not broken like Wizard or Strikers, but she is definitely very high up there. She's strong. I would say where Guardian Awakening is at the moment is where every class should be in terms of balancing, a strong grinder but not broken. So if Nova can match that, then I am very pleased with the results. I would say, yes, Guardians here, even with only 235 AP, she is still one-shotting the Feather Wolves, but almost so is my Nova. She is not quite one-shotting them, but her faster skill animations make up for it. So yeah, in most cases, I would say if you go to Munshaums, Feather Wolves, similar areas, you should expect to be as fast as the Guardian Awakening on Nova Awakening. I also returned here after she got buffed, after that, again, first buff from last week, and I only did 1 session, half an hour, just to see if anything changed whatsoever, and I was 1.5% faster. pretty much down to just fluctuations in grinding speed, which means I would say it's not any faster, basically on par with my Guardian. Next stop we have Shere-Khan Necropolis. Why, you might ask? They are pretty much the same as Feather Wolves, not quite one-shotables, but not easy to kill either. I just chose this place because of the CC, and I kind of wish I did the test better, because my main Guardian has like 90% knockdown resistance. She would have 100% if I could use the Villa buff on her, but of course I cannot do that because AP differences. Still, she almost never got knocked down, my Guardian, which gives her an advantage. I chose Necropolis because it has CC, and on my Nova, yeah, I did get knocked down and bound quite a few times, because with Season Gear and needing those AB crystals, she didn't have the knockdown resistance. So because of that, overall the average, she was 6.5% slower than my Guardian. Again, same AB and all of that stuff. I'm pretty sure I can get her to be exactly as fast as my Guardian, especially since these results are from before she got buffed, and if you look at the second run on my Nova with 4,600 monsters and the first one on my Guardian, they are pretty much the same. So with a little bit more work and 100% knockdown resistance, I'm sure I can clear Necropolis, again, just as fast as my Guardian Awakening. Next stop, moving forward, we have Schutzguard. Schutzguard is, again, I thought it's harder than Shere-Khan Necropolis, but turns out it's not. At least when it comes to one-shotting them, my Guardian with 235 AP is still one-shotting them. It's like, it's surprising how easy it is. I'm pretty sure they are AP capped, otherwise I don't explain why my Guardian is just simply, you know, melting everything. Still, I did my Guardian test. This time it was only one session because one of them was invalid, because I went with my full gear like an idiot. And Nova, from here on, it's only the first buffed Nova. There are no more base Nova tests because, you know, moving forward in the timeline. From the Nova version, let's just say I noticed I have to put more work to get the same result as my Guardian. My Guardian can just simply one skill everything. My Nova has to actually use more skills to achieve the same speed, so it can feel a bit more demanding on your fingers. I kind of got used to it, so I don't really notice anything different these days, but at first it used to be, you know, I needed a break after like every session, every hour grinded. Still, conclusion from Schutzguard, my Nova is about 2.5% slower than my Guardian in monsters per hour, which, again, fluctuations, just inconsistencies, I would say it's probably on par, which I'm surprised. A lot of people say they are disappointed, she's underwhelming, but come on, if a class is just as good as Guardian Awakening while still being balanced every single week she gets buffs or, you know, improvements, I would say she's in a very good spot. I don't know about Succession, but Awakening is looking really promising. And oh yeah, by the way, I didn't return to Necropolis to retest it with the buffed Nova because we got a drop rate event, the 50% drop rate, so Necropolis is no longer grindable because everyone is there now. So next stop, and actually not yet the last one, is Kratuga. I thought I would go to Kratuga as an example of a high-end area. You know, I can only really push so much with Tuvala gear before I cannot yet go to Star Zend or Sikraya because Tuvala gear, so I figured Kratuga would be a good compromise. Turns out, not exactly. Well, I tried with Tet Tuvala armor, and that's not really enough to survive, so I kind of died once or twice. Too bad I had to start testing the Nova side after I already finished doing the Guardian one. So at least I can show you the Guardian results, which are extremely good, like unexpectedly good. 235 AP. Yeah, I do have a Black Star, whatever, but you can make the extra AP difference if you actually use the Villa buff and the perfume, which I didn't, or more, let's say proper elixirs like the Frenzy. You can make up the difference. 235 AP on Guardian. I'm killing almost as fast as my full gear at Kratuga. I don't know if they are AP capped, but I get like 90% clearing speed on 235 AP. I'm still using the exact same rotation. I go Rapture to buff my AP, then God Incinerator, and then Searing Fang, and if needed I use Cleansing Flame to finish off the monsters. It's the exact same 3 skills in the exact same order. For Guardian, literally nothing changes if I get more AP from this point onward. So if I learned something, it's that season gear on Guardian Awakening is perfectly fine to grind Akman, you will see later, to grind Kratuga and most of these entry level high-end areas. For Nova, I don't know yet. I will return to Kratuga when I can. So after this failure, I figured let me enhance a bit my Tuvala stuff. Let's get some pen armor pieces. You know, maybe I can survive better if I have full pen armors. You would think it's easy to get full pen armor on 25 or 30% success rate, you know? You would expect one in at least 3 to 4 taps. The game kind of disagrees. Took me a while, you know, hours of grinding, lots of materials, but in the end I did get a couple of armors to pen. I got my gear improved, but I didn't return to Kratuga because I felt like it wasn't enough. I believe I did, and it still wasn't good enough. Instead I went to Akman. I think Akman is a good enough representation of a high-end place that you can actually reliably and efficiently grind on Tuvala season gear, basically. So the first time I went to Akman, yes, the first time, there are multiple versions. On Guardian I had no problems whatsoever because my full DP, I have my knockdown resistance there. 235 AP surprisingly is still really good for Akman. Like, I'm exactly the same case as Kratuga. I'm basically using the same skill rotation. Rapture, God Incinerator to bound the monsters, then Searing Fang, lots of down attack damage, and they die. Like, it's extremely fast. I would even go as far as to say that Guardian is probably the god of Akman. Like, I don't think there is any class in the game faster at Akman than Guardian Awakening. Even with 235 AP, she's extremely fast, to put it frankly. So if Nova can get anywhere close to that, it will already be a huge achievement, but I didn't get my hopes up. I mean, you can already see the results on screen, but on Nova, I tried my best. Her biggest problems in my opinion are: 1, her skills don't have as much damage per skill, so you have to use more of them, and 2, they have longer cooldown. That's the biggest problem. I wish they would decrease some of her cooldowns by even 1 second. Even 1 second is enough, because on my Guardian I can use the exact same 3 skills in order for every single pack, because the 2 AoEs have 8 seconds cooldown. And even with those 8 seconds, sometimes I have to linger and wait for half a second for them to come out of cooldown. So 8 seconds cooldown is pretty much the most I would accept on a skill, to be able to rotate the exact same skills over and over for every single pack to one-shot them. Nova has certain big damage skills that are 10 seconds, 12 seconds cooldown, so I had to use different skill rotations for different packs. Took me a while to even get used to it. I'm sure I can still improve on Akman, but still, with the first attempt, with the first buff of Nova, again I will remind you, these changes, I got an average of 18% slower. A bit disappointing, isn't it? 18%, almost 20% slower, that's huge compared to Guardian. With the exact same gear, exact same, you know, AP, exact same buffs, I mean food buffs and all of that. Also, I found it way less reliable to use to get down attacks on Nova, again Awakening. I mean, I know I have skills, certain skills that can do down attack, like shift left mouse button to bound the monsters and then do down attack damage, but it seems like it's much harder to consistently get the monsters knocked down to take advantage of that down attack. Maybe Nova is more of a Hystria class, not an Akman class, most likely, but still, 18%, it can be improved. Originally this was supposed to be the end of the video, the end of my test, but with this week's patch, so to remind you, these changes, I figured let me redo Akman, let me try again one more time, maybe I can be even more efficient, maybe I can push Nova enough to get her to somehow match Guardian's clearing speed. I went back, I enhanced even more, I basically tried my best to get the best version of my Tuvala gear, and after that I learned that, oh whoopsie, we get graduation, early graduation next week, too bad, but yeah, I went all the way up to 245 AP, so I got one more bracket. I believe I got more DP as well, to a point where now I no longer need to worry about taking damage in Akman, which is important. And I also changed two of my crystals, so I did go up one bracket in AP, but I lost the two Makalot, the Makalot set, the 10 AP. Basically, I went up one bracket, but I have the exact same AP because I lost the difference from crystals, and I placed knockdown resistance crystals instead. So, big difference. Now I don't have to worry about knockdowns at all, no bounce, no knockdowns, 100% resistance, and I also don't have to worry about taking damage, just like I was on Guardian, which means I can focus on just dealing as much damage as possible. And I returned. I tried my best. This time I changed my food as well. I said maybe I can just get the most out of this. I went for the actual simple cron meal. I went for the frenzied route to give more damage to Nova compared to Guardian, let's say. Basically I tried to give Nova as much of a favor as possible, and 2 more sessions later and an average later, it's 10% slower. So it's not 18% slower, now it's 10% slower, which I would say it's a good victory. It's not winning per se, but come on, Guardian, like who can really beat Guardian Awakening in Akman? So I will take this as a victory. Only 10% slower is acceptable. Maybe she is actually faster at Hystria, maybe Sikraya, Star's End. Who knows, in a week or 2 when we get graduation I can put my full gear on her and do some further testing. Until then, this will have to do. So, if you made it this far, thanks for watching, thanks for listening to my opinion about grinding speeds from these 2 classes. Again, Guardian Awakening is really fast, she's a really good grinder, so if Nova can match that, then I am very pleased with her Awakening. Yeah, it takes more effort, but then again, most classes take more effort than Guardian. The end of the story, the conclusion, she is slightly faster than Guardian at one-shottable areas. She is pretty much on par with Guardian at intermediary spots like Manshaums, let's say, or Featherwolves, Shereka Necropolis, Schultz Guard, and she is probably slower slightly than Guardian Awakening at high-end areas. If you have any feedback, if you play the class, if you wanna share, if you didn't make her into a season character, what do you get out of Sikraya, out of Star's End? Like, what is your experience with her at actual high-end areas? And I will leave it at that. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this, hope it was entertaining and, informative. If you enjoyed the video, like the video and all of that, I will see you next time. I will go take a break now. Yeah. Bye bye.